Hey everyone, it's Greg with Auto Sausage, where we grind together automotive awesomeness. This is our podcast, but you can check it out as well on our YouTube channel at Auto Sausage if you're more of a visual person. So today we're going to look at a 1958 Porsche Carrera Speedster in 7 super auto stops. I think it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 places. All right, so take that back. 8 places. So as a reminder, be sure to play the Auto Sausage auction game at autosausage.com to win tickets to the Cincinnati Concours d'Elegance by guessing what 5 cool cars will sell for at the Mecum Indianapolis auction coming up this coming week. So I will be there, I think on Wednesday, and then definitely on Saturday. So if you see me walking around, I'll have my Auto Sausage t-shirt on. Be sure to say hello. In last week's podcast, I did the deep dive into all 5 cars and what I think they will sell for. So all guesses are posted at autosausage.com underneath the auction tab, so you can see how I do as well as yourself. So be sure to check into Mecum Live to hear what these 5 cars sell for. I think like 4 of them on Friday, and then 1 of them's on Saturday. So it should be pretty cool. And be sure to check out next week's podcast when I announce who the winner is and who has won those wonderful prizes, because I'll need an address that I can mail those wonderful tickets to you. They're worth about $120. So everything I've referenced in this podcast today, you can see on Instagram. And if you're on YouTube, you can see my website, autosausage.com, as I mentioned before. So let's get to it. The next auction game we are going to have coming up soon, and it's not on here right now, but it is the RM Sotheby's auction coming up in Auburn, Indiana. And one of the future ones, the big August weekend for, where is that, Pebble Beach, I will give away about $200 worth of Star Wars authentic autograph trading cards, or photographs, I guess. So these are the real deal. I will mail them to you, whoever wins, and that's going to be a little more interesting. I might pick one car from 5 different auctions. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing on that one yet, but we're going to work it out, and it will be a lot of fun. So the first thing I wanted to mention is the Spring Classic Driving Tour. So this is something that happened last weekend or the weekend before. It was like 6 different car clubs came together. I was with the Porsche Club, and we drove around. We went to the most picturesque roads in southern Ohio, where we visited an Amish market, historical points, ended up at a car show, and it was really cool. So you'll see a lot of these pictures on Instagram at Auto Sausage. So be sure to check those out. And here's their Facebook page where they had some cool pictures posted. So one mistake I made was I ended up inadvertently got into the fast Porsche group. So we were trying to keep up with them all day. On the way back, I ended up being shoehorned between 2 Porsche 356s. So they were still pretty quick, which was pretty interesting. So while I was there, the thing I wanted to call out is I discovered, everybody else apparently knew about this car, but a 1958 Porsche Speedster. Not only was it an original Speedster, but it was owned by the guy that bought it in 1959. He's owned it for 60 years. And not only is he the owner since 1959, but it is an actual real Carrera Speedster. So super rare, same owner for forever, and a really, really cool car. So look on Instagram for those pictures. The next place I wanted to mention that I visited in my travels for work was Munich Motorsports. So this is a BMW tuner, but they also do a lot of regular service. So I was able to go in there, take a few pictures on my travels, some cool race cars and everything else. This is their website if you're joining us on YouTube. Super nice folks. Gave me a nice little tour of their shop. So that was really cool. The next place is a secret place in Maine. So I'm going to pull up a web page here. So what was interesting is I always recommend, whenever you're trying to find someplace cool when you're traveling, I just Google classic car place, auto museum, exotic car, Ferrari, Lamborghini. I see what pops up. And a race shop popped up in Maine. And so I went by this race shop after a trade show, and it was pretty cool. They had a lot of cool automobilia, which is, there's some pictures on Instagram and a YouTube video on my YouTube channel. And that was pretty cool. But the guy said, you know what? Let me show you something kind of secret. So we went to another location, and in this other location, which I cannot share, it had every Model T, Ford Model T from 1952 to 1958, every version. So if there was a 4-door convertible, there was one of those. If there was a 2-door convertible that year, there was one of those. If there was a 5-passenger car or 3-passenger car, they were all there. It was truly amazing. And on my YouTube channel right now, I pulled up Cruising New England. Supposedly this guy filmed in the shop, and I could not find it on his TV schedule where it mentions this awesome place. So if I can ever share a little bit more about this place, or someone else went in there and filmed it so you can see it, I will be sure to bring it up on a future podcast. But right now, I could not see it. He is apparently on some channel I'm not familiar with. TV schedule on NESN. So I'm assuming that's New England Sports Network. So if any of you are up in New England and know more about this, he doesn't have it on his Facebook page or his YouTube channel. So trying to learn a little bit more. If you check out the YouTube video I did post, it was of a demonstrator of a cutaway car, like a 1930s cutaway car, and it had a hand crank. And it would show, if you turn the hand crank, it would show you how the internal mechanics of the engine and the drivetrain, including the differential, would work. So it was really, really cool. And it also, all the turn signals worked, and the lights and everything else on this little, I don't know, it's 2.5 foot long cutaway from 1930. So super, super cool place. Another place I wanted to mention I visited recently was the Cincinnati Supercars, which are actually up in Springboro, Ohio. Super nice folks. I didn't get a chance to meet the owner. I believe he will be on my Learn From Others podcast in the future. But really cool place. I went there with the Motoring Society, a local club where we kind of walked around and got a tour. So a lot of pictures will be on my Instagram page. There was a really crazy wrapped Lamborghini. I think it was an Aventador. It's bright yellow with the Lamborghini logos and everything else around. So there were some Ferraris. I think there was a McLaren, Audi A8. Oh yeah, here we go. So they have a couple so they're showing some of their high-end cars they've sold. They also had this really cool 1971 Morgan Plus 8 there, so they did have one classic car. So that was really, really cool. Hopefully they will be on, like I said, Learn From Others in the future, which I will also splice and put a little bit of it on the Auto Sausage podcast as well. Another place I visited on my travels was up in Erie, Pennsylvania, a place called Vintage Modified. Gorgeous pictures on this website. I mean, these things are just amazing what they're doing here. I did a quick little video from the outside, but they basically restore, resto mod some cool cars. So on their website, they show a few things. The one thing that was really cool is like a 1963 Honda S500, I think. So it's a little tiny small car. It was the second car, I think, that they imported into the U.S. Really cute convertible, and it was being restored to a concourse level for a professional race car driver. And that one will be out on the streets in the Indianapolis area at some point in the near future. So really cool place, really nice guys, great shop. I think it's the best place in Erie to check out cool stuff. So be sure to check it out. And then on another trade show, actually this was a customer's appointment, I stumbled across this place called Iron Key Classic Cars. TJ gave me a tour. I don't have a video of this location, but they had some cool stuff there. Really nice folks. You can see on their website here. They do restorations of mostly muscle cars. They had a 1967 Ford Mustang convertible in the back that was kind of neat. But what's interesting is it had been in one of the Midwest floods. So you open up the hood and there's like a little bit of mud just about everywhere. So it's unfortunate. And on their website there's this really cool Ford Phaeton, which is basically a 4-door convertible. I wonder how this guy. This is really cool. So super nice folks. There was a really neat 1967, I think it was 67, Porsche 912 light yellow car in there, and you'll see that on my Instagram page as well. And the last place I'd like to mention is, I don't know if I have a name for this place. It's one of my friends. It's a father-in-law that does restorations. It's called, I think it's called Indy Corvettes. I'm not sure exactly, but they kind of work out of this shop. What was cool is they had a 1967 427 Corvette convertible they were working on, and they had a 1968 unrestored Corvette, which was really neat. So you'll see some pictures there. I think the unrestored one was the black one, the 1968 that you'll see on my Instagram feed as well. So a lot to cover. As a reminder, be sure to jump in. You have only a few days left to vote or guess the correct bid. You're not actually buying the car, but guess the correct bid for the Indianapolis Mecum auction coming up. And be sure to check out our YouTube page. So right now I only have 5 videos on here right now. There'll be 7 by the time you get this podcast. And I have like 74 queued up. I'm not lying. I've got like 74 videos queued up. So I will also review Metalcraft in Cincinnati. They do Porsche restorations. There were 3 Carreras there when I was there a few weeks ago. And there's a Porsche place I ran across up in New England as well. I'm not making it Porsche heavy. That just happens to be the way things have been shaken out lately. And, excuse me. And then had a cool beers and gears at a local brewery the other day. So I'll be sure to do a little video on that or post a few pictures on that. So thanks again for joining us. If you won next week, congratulations. You will be announced on our next podcast. So you all have a great one.